Welcome everyone to this first meeting of the Webcast series Epistemologies of Land. The Webcast series is co-sponsored and organized by the Center for Global Knowledge Studies, GLONASS, and the Center for Research in the Arts, Social Sciences and Humanities, CRASH. I would like to thank Inanna Hamati-Ataya, the founding director and mastermind of GLONASS, and Samantha Peel, the project manager, for making this series possible. Originally, this should have been a workshop at CRASH about a year ago, but due to the pandemic's persistence, we decided to go ahead with a series of web talks this year. I know that many of you are kind of tired of the Zoomification of everything, but there's also a positive. We can bring together people from time zones as far as -7 and +6 from Cambridge, UK, without destroying the environment even more than we already have. I myself am in Frankfurt, Germany, at the Peace Research Institute. My name is Felix Anderl, and I welcome you all to this series. Before I introduce the first speaker, let me say a few words of introduction. In the Center for Global Knowledge Studies, we have a special interest in epistemology. And thus, Inanna has managed to bring that interest together with a range of disciplinary and regional traditions. We have a special focus on agriculture because many technologies, norms, practices that embody knowledges of the world and how these knowledges have globalized over time can be observed in agrarian contexts. In my personal research, I've been focusing on the resistance against one particular rapid such globalization of agricultural knowledge, the Green Revolution. In the course of this research, again and again, the role of land seemed paramount to me. But not always was it clear how to exactly understand and conceptualize this role. Agrarian movements in particular attribute special significance to the land. And my hunch is that to understand the societal conflicts that we're currently seeing around climate, food, and much more, we have to understand the relations of movements and institutions to the land on which they draw and which makes their practices possible in the first place. As we will see in the coming weeks during the presentations to this webcast series, we can use the land as epistemological resource. Not only do we understand social relations better when taking into account the land on and through which they are mediated, but especially it will become clear that social orders relate to the land in very distinct ways. So the urge to make sense of place is particularly strong in the context of agriculture, where social relations and means of production are strongly interwoven with the land on and which they are brought to bear. I therefore invited scholars who look at social relations in agrarian contexts to expand on these debates. Although agrarian practices are not confined to any specific setting, they can be distinguished by their connection to, on, and between the lands. Knowing the land and how to handle it is therefore extremely important for any agrarian practice. For understanding agrarian relations or generally conflictive relations in rural societies, the land on which they occur is therefore a central epistemological dimension and site. In the coming weeks, we will collectively investigate these interrelations and relate them specifically to the lands on which they occur and through which they are constituted, both materially and ideationally. Land is therefore understood to be both material and spiritual. And for the relations we observe, both of these dimensions will come to play. On the one hand, land is increasingly seen as a commodity, an inscription with strong effects on the subjects living on and from it. On the other hand, in appreciation of the role of cosmology in the constitution of societies, Land is also understood as a site and source of spiritual practices, affecting the relations on the land in its own right. By bringing scholars from a number of fields and disciplines together, we attempt to answer a number of pressing questions that are clustered in 3 dimensions: the relations to the land, relations on the land, and relations among lands.